Okay, welcome to the next campaign. I decided let's make it a little more lighthearted in the beginning and let's do some fun hijinks in this town because there's a festival and it's like, hey, let's all do like some weird interactions and stuff. But it didn't seem so well to catch on to these people. No, it did not whatsoever. Because they immediately just seem to want to go into like instigating or to fight quickly without like investigating or figuring things out or like persuasion and all that. They just immediately just like, oh well, fuck, whatever. And so it was a story mainly on the fact of a country, kingdom, you would say, in a little turmoil because the king is going to die. It's kind of coming to his time, and he didn't really name an heir at the point because it sort of happened sudden. I mean, the dude's kind of, yeah, I mean, middle aged, but I mean, he had like four. I don't even know how many kids he had, honestly, but they're like missing princes, and there's a princess, so she wasn't gonna get the throne, but she has her motives and ulterior motives. In any case, there is a dispatched faction that is going out to kind of find the princess and issue them to come back to the kingdom. So there's a whole like figuring it out kind of thing. And so one of the princes are across the great river that it kind of connects to that other map, but it kind of snakes down because that's that kingdom, which it really wasn't. It was sort of like a broken up state complex. So it really wasn't a centralized like, oh, it's kingdom. This one was, but on the verge of like collapsing into that what that was up there. So company and crew that were out looking was not exactly at this particular moment in time. This would just be the adventurers to like interact. I thought it was a more fun interaction thing. Like, hey, there's this guy. He stole some shit from you, as you all are partying and stuff. And it's like, oh, well, we're all do-gooders. And it's like that person stole. Let's go chase him. And the dude ends up in some like sleazy brothel that kind of run prostitution, and he suddenly disappeared. They found a secret trap door hidden. They got through it out. They find him, but he ends up with his like throat slit, or he's dead in the alley. And then they end up there, get the thing back that was stolen, which I think was their money. And then all of a sudden, because they were very like coming through very aggro like in this peaceful like celebration town, because it's a festival and they kind of didn't really do anything in the festival, so they go. No, oh my god, I need it. Okay, so where am I? They get to the trapdoor, they find, okay, there was a chick. Yeah, the chick ran off after killing this guy, which I think I did give him a name. I don't remember, but the chick runs off. Chief Lee's town. They don't know that, but they end up getting pinned with the killing of this guy, and it's like he said, she said kind of thing, and this town did not look too kindly on murder. And for some strange reason, these people became a little more enraged, like lynch mob esque. So, God, what did happen in this early step? Fuck, it was so long ago. So, and of course, like, I think I scrubbed these notes.
Or this one, I think this was all like fuck on the spot. I don't think I wrote any notes.
I gotta remember here. So I want to say it was one of them persecuted because I think it was the Hobbit uh, monk or whatever they're called, halfling. That was the one that grabbed the money because I don't think they were all really there as she got spotted grabbing her cash, and they never really bothered investigating the woman killing the guy and what happened with that. And so, um, she ends up, the halfling gets, like, put on the hangman's noose, kind of like, the whole, like, stand, platform, stairs coming up on it. They're gonna hang her, as everybody, blah, 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 getting all riled up, and they seem to have a little more, like, it's like an illuminated, like, I didn't know what kind of light. I think maybe I said red. I don't know. But it was a piercing kind of like glare coming out of their eyes that looked very evil. And it's just an aura about them that seemed off compared to like a normal kind of riot or disgruntled villagers. In any case, they were really, really into just wanting to like kill her. In any case, the party ends up like jury rigging. They're out, way out of it. Cutting the rope, making break for it, distraction with an illusion, and then they leave. They never bothered to question anything that happened with that or why. But for my point of view, there was because I'm still trying to like wrap my head around that fog, like creature-esque kind of synergy, and I kind of wanted it to infect people's minds in a way to give them a haziness, because that's kind of like what I had in a sense at that Bruma place, and so this is what was kind of happening to these people. I mean, it was just like, I guess it enacted through their aggressions towards something, but at the time they were very happy, and then suddenly this aggressiveness just unfolded heavier in the more susceptible minds. But yeah, that's why there's something that's very off and strange happening. And so what would happen with this town, uh, it would end up becoming a cesspool of this like breeding ground for this kind of like creatures that would come out of the uh I don't want to say portal, but the fog, I guess, the unalterating abyss kind of shit. And they just spawn out of these like, well, I'll get to that. So yeah, so they just, oh, go to sleep. Oh no. Oh my god. Oh, thank God we're out of the cold. Oh no. And then right about where they get to this bridge, that's where they meet the crew of people that came over. Like, they've taken more breaks on their way down to this point because they're a bigger crew carriage in a sense, and you got people walking, and they get tired, they gotta take a break. This group was just purely on foot, so they had light travel, and so yeah, they end up with the people who were looking for the princess. And so I think that I had it, this is where I brought in several key factor characters that kind of make a big deal. in the whole grand scheme of storytelling. I want to say there was a like, I think she's half elf. There's a half elf sorcerer that sort of ran the kind of ragtag crew of, I mean, they're mysterious people in a way, but they kind of brought their like value to the like carriage or caravan. That's a better word for it. Um then there was, so yeah, she had her crew, which I think had a, it was like a captain or sort of like a leader, noble. I think it's more of a noble. He was a paladin, and he kind of had some like soldier dudes that were serving under him, and some knights, and like he had his little crew of like guardsmen, I guess, with her, and like she had some peddler like trinket mystery guy, and then there's I think she had a protector dwarf. In any case, the other side of it, which was serving the kingdom, that entailed like a dwarven, like, God, I didn't really know what he put in value of political atmosphere within the kingdom, but I knew that he was running the shot here, so he was noble in a way. I think maybe he was more of like a counselor, or I don't know, chancellor. I think so. I think a chancellor might have been better. I don't know, but you know, he had uh money, so he would hire that mercenary company from the previous campaign. Uh, did not have that strange dude, but just the, you could hire these people into your or your crew if you wanted to, if you had the money. Like, they weren't cheap, and so I mean, he had that. Uh, in any case, they tagged along and set out, and they ended up like, hey, let's take a pit stop and let's go to Gretchen. And so they end up in this town. Ooh. Gary, that was really bad. So they end up in Gretchen, in the town. Now, this place was going to look exactly what Preston would have been, but this place seems tapped out. Like, Preston was going to go through the process of these things kind of coming out, and Gretchen's is kind of the aftermath of it, so they're no longer like there in a sense. But buildings are sort of kind of ransacked looking, like stuff is slashed, scratches, weapons laid about, dried dead blood, and then there's just like strewn about corpses kind of in and around places, and like they would get spooked because out of some of these like strewn about, like either they're bloated corpses or just like a dead body kind of drying up through the sun, there'd be these like worm like things shooting out of their body. I guess they're like large. I think they're like a large maggot in a sense, but then they it seemed like it was something that burrowed its way in. I think I want to say that that's what killed them, but I don't remember.
I don't think that it spawned out of them. Like, it grew up inside of it. I wasn't sure. The mega thing, I don't think I really visited after this. But I think I always wanted to bring it back. So yeah, the mega jumps out. They fight and kill that stuff. Yeah, so they get spooked up by that, and then they end up like, oh shit, so this happened to the town. We better go see the noble lord that owns this town up at its keep. So they go up there. They find the whole entire place scattered with just dead people. Like, I mean, they try to thoroughly go through the like buildings, but midway through that, um see, I didn't want to exactly bring the creatures back to their spawn pool because it's used up and done. So I think I instead just brought Undead back for the. Because then I put another twist on Undead here. That's right. So I was thinking like, so Undead in a sense is undeath, like unlife, like it's not they're living or dead, so it's sort of in a non-existency kind of life form in a way. So I kind of made them associated with this as well, just because I didn't want to unveil the like craziness that these creatures would unveil, or you'd have to deal with. So yeah, the undead would come in and bodies would get up because either the thing, that worm thing in that's controlling it, zombie. Um, yeah, they get in a fight. I don't think anybody died, which was surprising because they did have a barred gate. They were able to defend themselves well. They did a pretty good job. Yeah, I don't think there was any other things happening with that aside from the unclear and unsuredness. And that's who I forgot to mention. It was this Marcus guy. He was a mage out of the academy, like a prodigy. He was with this crew. I'm saying the Academy in Crystalla because they have a big like mage academy thing. And so he kind of transcribing the like strangeness of it, and they need to get out of this area or they're going to be infected, and they're going to have to reach. I don't think I really explained it to the party, but they needed to move on and get to basically the big city. That's kind of where the religious sect of all this resided, and they needed to come out there and consecrate whatever the hell it was happening there, because his magics couldn't do anything for that. Okay, and so we leave. Travel back down the road. Some encounters. Nothing much. I don't think I think because their group was so big, didn't even bother attacking them. So they kind of were in the clear, just eating their food, and then they end up in Portland. So, in this town, this is kind of where I set up a quest board for them. It was to check in with the watch near the swamp up in the north, clear the knoll camps in the woods. I mean, that would have been a pretty big undertaking. They didn't take that. Otherwise, it was to go
clear a old trading post place out. That's the one they chose. Or there was the Nagas on the beach. And I told them how much health. Well, I had to give them some information on how tough those minions were, because people would know that kind of stuff. I just said that I had, like, I don't know, somewhere around like 40, 50 health or something. They're like, yep, fuck that. So they go to the ruins. They don't really know what's there. It was goblins. So they go there. Which, boom, 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 boom. Trading post up here. I enveloped a lot of information into this campaign, which never got brought up because they cleared this out. They fucked with a ritual, brought in this demonic fae creature. Nothing became of it because this is kind of where they collapsed and sort of died, because one of the characters got possessed because they were fucking dead or something, and then another one got poisoned or something, and yeah, they were all kind of scattered, and then they just didn't seem to want to play it, and I think this one died, which was the halfling. Yeah, so I did kind of want to elaborate on this because they never even stepped foot back into this campaign. So I don't know about releasing, because I don't have any information up in the north aside from there was this building up here which was sort of one of the gateways into that other world where non-existence would be, and that's kind of where I alluded to another campaign which would never see the light of day because it was going to be kind of my adaptation of Dark Souls 2. I think I might have built on later. I don't know, we'll see when I get to it, but this would have been a place where there were knights standing guard and soldiers, crossbowmen, mages, and then I think I had Black Knight in the beginning. It was like the Black Knight supposing, and kind of showcases like a darkness, and you know how that guy goes. So yeah, back down to Portland. I had some stuff set up, I guess, for them to leave at another port. They'd have to deal with some of them soldiers that came out from that place that are mindlessly wandering. They don't seem to have, I guess, communications pattern. They seem very assured of killing things, I guess. Can't really reason with them. And then there was a whole corruption scheme that demonic fae was riling up the dragons in the area, and then I had a buried deep in the ground ancient dragon that was sort of around during the time of the world going to shit, and I thought, I don't know if there's gonna be a talk interaction with that thing, or is it just gonna be a big boss battle with a huge thing. And then in the swamp area, I kind of wanted to build up on a vampire kind of situation, and I mean there were dwarves kind of scattered about. I mean I kind of glossed over a little bit in the frozen area campaign where they're pretty much all dead. It's just the remnants of their civilization. But this one would have been a more oh, well, there's the kingdom. They have an outside setting for above ground people to visit and trade with them. Otherwise, in the inner sanctum of their minds and uh, architecture, that they would be more reclusive to not let anybody through those doors, but they can just trade with them outside of there. And then I had a whole corruption scheme going on with the big town here. I mean, I could just. I think it was down here. That's the port town. And then back up. Where's the road? Traveled up this way. And then, yeah, that would be like a staging point to go up here where that trickster dude's kind of fucking with people. And then that's where the dragon would have fought. Then up further, yeah, this would be the town with the holy kind of stuff. Um, and then in the southern area, I had this old watch post keep tower, I guess, and there would be a single like I don't want to say knight or soldier, but it was like an armored guy. Didn't talk much, just sort of gestured in like hand signals, I guess. Not like sign language, but just like not very coherently communicatable. Just like points at the like water. I mean, it was not a giant lake, but at the center of it, it was another gateway to that kind of abyssal plane. Yeah, so I did have an extra campaign set up through this, and then I kind of, this is where I was more interactive and kind of figuring out monsters. I got this, like, I don't know, it's not a dark elf, but it was sort of like a ghostly elf. Kind of in tune with that abyss thing out in those swamps. There was also this, I brought in a creature that I thought was really cool from an old movie back in the 90s, which was anime. Princess Mononoke. It was something similar to it, that walking stag like creature where just fucking eats up everything it comes across. But it's not a gooey mess that goes everywhere. It's a formed together giant creature, but everywhere it steps, it kills the stuff it steps on. It was a creature from the abyss. I've never brought it into a game. It just kind of wanders the swamps and stops at times and wanders. Otherwise, that was kind of it for. I mean, I've elaborated a little more on this map than I originally put in, because I would come back to this one because this was kind of where like my ingenuity of storytelling kind of picks off, because this is kind of where it grounds at the base. Aside from the prelude stuff in that Shadowlands campaign, this Life or Death one was more like I really wanted to do this one, but they didn't seem into it at all. I mean, I had cave networks figured out, a hobgoblin society, hill dwarves dealing with that, the vampire situation. Yeah. Oh, and I brought Basilisk in, an interesting old keep. Yeah. Some orcs, not really many. But yeah, there's a lot of other nameless creatures I brought in that I don't. Well, maybe I could find here. I made Basilisk. I made an abyssal version of the Basilisk. I don't even. Man, how deadly was this thing? It's 189 health.
22 armor. Oh my god. His attacks are really low hitting though, but it does a fuck ton of damage. 2d8 plus 7 plus 2d6 poison. Ouch. Then it turns you to stone. Chimeras, brought those in. Gorgon, poison spiders. Flying swords. Minotaurs. Sea giants. And then Naga. Yeah, I think there was another campaign. I'm not gonna visit it at all. Like, it's sort of where Gretchen was before the fall. And I was gonna show a backstory of one of the characters that were in the caravan because she is part of the kingdom of Barthomia here, and she's a captain. But yeah, her family runs that place, and she had to go to the kingdom, like capital, so they had to cross. She had to cross over, and because she was the representative, as her father was away off doing I didn't know what, but he wasn't around. And so it turns into like a thing where like that dude comes back and you find out the fall, and it's like it was gonna be pretty crazy campaign, but I only briefly touched on it. I think playing the next campaign I think I'm gonna show. I think it happened towards the end. No, it did not. I don't know when I tried bringing it in, but it just, yeah. Because the dude comes back as a ghost, the lord of the manor. But yeah, he did a pretty heroic last stand in that, and then it was gonna kind of showcase the like craziness that the creatures from the abyss would have brought. Anything else? I mean, showing any of the swamps and hill stuff is kind of pointless because that's up for like rework, and I just have placeholders there to kind of be like, whatever. I don't have nothing set in concrete aside from those things. Because I would visit another campaign where it would start off in this one, but they would sail somewhere else. I have another Fort Sumter. I need to come up with a better name. Yeah. That would be it for this campaign, y'all. So, thank you for tuning in and watching this. I hope I did better with the music. Narrating and story, I mean, it was a little lowbrow, but this one, the players didn't really do much aside from fight and die.